Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your February 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and located in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. It is not me. I will not be soliciting you for a reading. I'm actually closed to private readings at this time. Okay, with that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, 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 Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. And spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. And let's see what your chakra energy is. Excuse me. Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Okay, so the chakra messages, this is going to be where you have a bit of blockage during this time, where you have to be more mindful about these chakra energy, and about, the way that you are connecting with it. So we have here determination with the solar plexus chakra. You're very determined, you are moving forward, but you feel like you're swimming upstream, and that's going to be very, very draining on you. There is a need here to really look at how your gut is feeling about things, how you're taking care of yourself, the bigger picture that you're looking towards. And we're going to go into this more deeply in just a moment. And we see what the tarot has to say. We have truth with the third chakra, Speaking your truth is going to be something that you could feel really hesitant about. You might sit there and think, oh my gosh, people are going to judge me, or, nobody wants to hear my truth, or, maybe you're, oh wow. So Spirit is saying maybe for some of you, and for some of you, it is this feeling of, it's the same old story. Like it's the same old, hardship and pain and disappointment, and nobody wants to hear me. But what's going to be very interesting is that if you look at the people in your life, when they tell you their trials and their tribulations, and when like they come home from work and they sit there and they start talking and they, just keep talking, it's going to be about the same thing. But it's almost like if you start talking, it's like, oh, well, just get over it. Like, why aren't you done? Like, why aren't you better? Why aren't you, happier? Why aren't you what I need you to be? And Capricorn, at this point in your life, with speaking your truth, it's letting yourself be honestly you. Maybe not to everyone, because it's bringing up a level of vulnerability, but for your own self, to speak your truth, whether it's journaling it down, whether it's having a conversation with your angels and your spirit guides, it's letting your truth come out and not being bullied by anybody else, even if they have the best of intentions, to sit there and say, this truth doesn't get to be yours. It does get to be yours, and it does get to be yours quite powerfully. It then leads you into the I Am Presence, the crown chakra, which is my favorite. This is my favorite card, because these are the words that we are crowning ourselves with. This is the energy that we have ourselves surrounded by. And the I Am Presence is saying, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm worthy of success. Instead of, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm spread so thin that I just want to scream. I don't want to hear it anymore. Those are going to be the energies that bring down your energy vibration, because you're taking on so much, Capricorn. And you're going to sit there and just want everything to be perfect. For everyone, you're just going to want to calm everything down. And sometimes you have to let people go through what they need to go through. It's part of their lessons. So here with the I Am Presence, you are going to be looking at yourself very openly and very honestly. And I know people sit there and say, Dane, why do you say the negative part? Why don't you only say the positive? Well, the negative part is very important. The negative part, for me, when I hear people say the positive, I'm like, yep, right on that boat, absolutely feel that way. But then when they say the negative, I'm like, ooh, I say that to myself. And oh, I feel that way. And oh my gosh, sometimes it's just a chore to get out of bed. And then looking at that lets me reassess without feeling guilty, because I know that other people are feeling that too. So that's why it's brought to the forefront. If it doesn't pertain to you, then, sit there, wish people well who it does pertain to, and keep on moving forward. Because you're crowning yourself with your blessings, but we also crown ourselves with our own curses. Now, the left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we have here the 8 of Pentacles, hard work, well done. The 2 of Pentacles, that's exactly what came through with the chakra energy. You are trying to balance so much that you forget to balance you. You have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy, time frame May 21st to May 21st to June 20th. There we go. And then we have the Fool, new beginnings. The Chariot, Cancer energy, time frame June 21st to July 22nd. You have the Death card, Scorpio energy, time frame October 23rd to November 21st. The 2 of Wands, the repeat of the number 2 here, shows that it is a very creative time for you. It's also a time to really connect with spirit. And then you have the King of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer, and you have Cancer and Scorpio right here within your own heart. The 3 of Pentacles, hard work, well done. Also, other people will try to take credit for what you do. So there are going to be times where you feel like, wow, I have to toot my own horn, or I'm tooting my own horn. I could feel uncomfortable about this. But it's kind of like, if I don't say I did this, everybody else is going to take credit, and I'm just going to be left in the dust. You then have a third 2, so divinity is definitely guiding you here with the 2 of Swords, seeing a path open up that you didn't think was going to be there. You always thought there were going to be 2 ways and 2 ways only. The 4 of Swords, looking at the pain, the hurt, the disappointment that you have been through, and the 3 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups for me is that reliance on people that we had, those people that were supposed to celebrate us. They were our best friends. They were, the people we thought were going to be in our corner, parents, teachers, partners, lovers, and they just couldn't be. They couldn't be what we needed them to be. They just couldn't. And we take that guilt onto ourselves, and it's affected you in the public arena. But you have the repeat of the number 3 here. So divinity definitely walks with you in the public arena. And that's going to be something that's a bit hard to see during this time, because you feel like you are swimming upstream. You definitely have that determination within your solar plexus chakra. It's like, I want more. And so what's happening here is divinity saying, step back for a moment. Step back with the Eight of Pentacles. And the Eight of Pentacles, 8 is a very serious number. We sit there and we look at the number 8 and its infinity. So it can be endless doubts and fears, but it can also be endless, striving towards betterment, striving towards power. It is a feminine number. It is also a worry number, which, you could sit there and say, in vast generalization, worrying is very feminine because it is an act of creation. And so here, while you're moving forward and while you are attempting to create and you have that determination to create what it is that you want, you're going to find that there's this sense of, will the fight never end? Does it have to be a continuous battle? I've been fighting for so long. And for some of you, you've been fighting since your teens, or even before that, since you were quite little. And the sense of the matter is here. It's like, when will I be on steady ground? And when will I have the prosperity come into my life? And here, it's looking at a job well done. It's looking at all the little tiny seeds that you have planted. And Capricorn, you are so absolutely astounding at planting the little seeds, at planting and nurturing and having a bigger picture. It might not be a big picture like everybody else understands, but that's why your throat chakra is coming forward and saying, know your truth. Know your truth. Know what it is that you desire. Now, with being a Capricorn, you're astoundingly practical. You like your list. You like your order. And also, I'm seeing here, if you're a very creative person, which are usually people who go on these spiritual journeys. They're very creative people. If not, they can still be very mathematical, but they have this way of being a bit of a visionary. You are a bit of a visionary, Capricorn. And what you're going to see here is that you're planting seeds of greatness that other people might not fully understand. You speak your truth, and other people don't see the big concept of what it is that you are trying to create. And so you take those naysayers, and as a person who is crowning yourself with your determination, but also with your doubt, you can take those naysayers really to heart. And here, it is looking at the hard work, the dedication, and the prosperity that you have. And it is sitting there and saying, there is more coming. It is looking at things and saying, this isn't the end of my journey. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's not the end of your journey. It is a new beginning. There is always a new chapter being written. And so here, with the Eight of Pentacles, it's people seeing your hard work, but more importantly, because it's in your inner self, it's you seeing your hard work, and it's stopping to discredit yourself. It's also looking what you're planting in you. What foods are you eating? What drinks are you drinking? How are you taking care of yourself? Because a lot of times, we can sit there on this spiritual journey and still be eating for comfort instead of for the best of our souls, the best of ourselves, still be drinking to just kind of numb the pain, get through things, or just to relax, just to unwind. And that's not necessarily going to be good for us. And so here, Capricorn, what divinity is saying is look at the seeds that you're planting and look at how you're feeding that soil. Look at what you're putting into the soil of your creation as you're moving forward, because there's time here where you're going to be looking at things and looking at the hardships and looking at the pains and looking at the disappointments and looking at the blessings and looking at the joys and looking at the laughter and saying, there is so much more to life than what I had expected. And that's where the balancing comes in, because you're working so hard to bring forward this prosperity and you want to lift everybody up. You really do. You're like, if I'm going to rise, you all are going to rise with me, right? And so here, there's so much that you are balancing. And because you can balance a lot, because you are very, very practical, this is sitting there and saying, it's almost saying like, if I can just be disciplined enough, if I can just be focused enough, the prosperity can come forward, the bounty can come in, the joy can come. But there's going to be a need to just kind of step back a little bit. And instead of saying, what do I want? It's like, how does divinity want to move me forward? What is it that I need to do? What is it that I want to do? And where's the middle ground? Where's the middle ground that calls me forward? And so here with the Two of Pentacles, you very much have the sense of learning how to balance, learning how to call forward the wealth, the prosperity, the bounty, the beauty, the brilliance that you have within your life and that you want within your life. It's also letting other people carry their loads. Instead of saying, oh, I'll just take that on, I'll just, juggle more and juggle more. It's saying, let people see what they need to see. Understand who they are, where they are, how they're moving forward, what they need. So the Two of Pentacles is that balance, and it can be the balance between the spiritual world and the earthly plane. It can be the balance of what you're supposed to be at home, the domestic person you're supposed to be, and then the worker that you're supposed to be. And it doesn't feel like there's ever time for who you want to be. And this is very much saying here, it's time to step back from everything that you're juggling and say, where am I in this equation? Who am I in this equation? How am I taking care of myself? Because so often we tend to do everything for everybody else. I mean, especially, again, if you're on this spiritual journey, you tend to do everything for everybody, or you want to pull everybody up, but you just forget about you. It's kind of like, oh, I'll take care of me later. I'll take care of me later. It's taking care of you now. And it might be doing a whole life overhaul. You could be tired. I feel the energy in this world right now. It's so on edge. And I just feel this like tension in my arms while doing this reading. It's kind of like, when is this going to stop? When are things just going to calm down? And it very much needs to be said, because it's like, okay, just keep smiling, just keep moving forward, have a positive attitude, everything will work out. And yet there's so much that seems to be taken out of our control. So there's so much that we want to hold on to. And this is saying here, ask what divinity wants of you. Ask where you're supposed to stand within your spiritual path. And instead of saying it has to be like this or it has to be like that, say, what does it feel like? Where do I feel like I need to be? And I know that sounds so whimsical and silly, and you're probably sitting there and saying, but Dana, I have a job to do. I have a way that I need to be. How can it be any other way? And you're going to find here that there is a power, there is a brilliance to stepping back and to connecting. That's why you have the repeat of the number 3, and the number 2 3 times, divinely saying to you, it's time to connect, because it's time to fall in love with life again. There is a sense here, you have here 2 becoming 1, right? And you have this beautiful sense of passions coming together. And so here, there's looking at things with the Lover's card. And there's that beautiful sexual connection, yes. And don't we all want that in our lives, to have that beautiful sexual connection with somebody? But it's almost like we have to walk. It's not almost like. Spirit says we have to walk in sensuality for ourselves first, before we can walk in sensuality with another. Because that sensuality with another person, it can come and it can be fleeting, but to have it last is to have that bond. That's why I'm very much a believer in carezza, which is the, I don't know if YouTube would ban me for saying these words, so I'm going to pick my words very, very carefully. It's the coming together of intimacy without reaching the heights of coming together. I don't know. Let's see if YouTube likes that. So here, what Spirit is saying is that there is a sense of coming together within the intimacy of your life, so that you walk in the sensuality of your being. And I really do feel like what Spirit is saying, is not what I am feeling. What Spirit is saying, and what I'm feeling from Spirit, is this coming together of the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine. Because in our world, we tend to say, well, you can be one or you can be the other. Or you have to kind of rage against it all. Instead of saying, but this is who I am. And this is coming together here and saying, this is who I am. This is who I need to be. This is falling in love with yourself. This is embracing your creativity, your ecstasy, your power, your truth. And this is falling in love with your life again. This is saying, there is a place here for me. There is a power here for me. And I know when you're worrying and when you're trying to balance everything, that's when you feel the least sexy, right? You feel the most overwhelmed, and it doesn't put you in an amorous mood at all. But there's a sense here of stepping back and connecting with Spirit and saying, what path is it that you want me to be on? What is it that you want me to explore within myself? And Capricorn, that starts to open up doors. And it's not going to be black or white. It's not going to be, white page, black print, easy to read, follow this list, everything will be okay. It's going to be a trust in feeling. It's going to be an evolution of emotion. And it leads you to really being set free in a way that you've longed for, in a way that you've thought, well, this isn't for me, or, I can't have this. This is for other people. I have too many responsibilities. I have too much on my shoulders. I can't. But you're going to find here that you most definitely can. And you most definitely are. There's going to be this way of moving forward. There's going to be this way of taking a leap of faith. And are you going to fall and fail? When you take a leap of faith, when you leap, you always have to come down, right? It's kind of like jumping off of something. You have to land back down. And that landing, unless you're really well trained at it, is quite jarring. It really impacts us. And so here, yes, when you take that leap, there will be a stumble, there will be a fall, but there will also be this sense of, wow, this sense of, I did it. I jumped. I went after it. And so with the Fool card, I always see this as the beginning of our hero's journey. That's how Spirit shows it to me. It's the beginning of our hero's journey. It's the beginning of our passion, our truth, our coming together. And it's starting to look at yourself in a very different way. Almost, yeah, in a way, and I know it sounds so predictable, but in a way that like you are a temple. You are a being for which to be worshipped within your own life. We always sit there and we worship the external. And didn't Brahma say, I buried God's head within you, because that is the one place you will not look for it. So in Hinduism, that was said. We have the Holy Spirit within us within Christianity. We have the light of God within us, within religions. And we always look externally for it instead of inward. And so what we're seeing here is this divine need, this powerful need to view ourselves as divine being. No matter if that seems blasphemous or not, it is very much true, because it is very much needing to be worthy of the sacredness that you are stepping into, to the path that you are stepping into, that makes it feel not as if it can feel as you're moving forward, that you're going against the current of everybody else, because the world operates very much on base emotions. And we see that. We can definitely see it now, where it operates on fear, it operates on anger, it operates on yelling, whose voice is louder, who can, be the most ferocious about things. And it brings us down. We want to operate up here. We want to operate in love, in respect, in trust, in creativity, in an opening of ourselves to the world. And that's where you are within your heart. There's very much a sense here of being a warrior of love. And when we look at the chariot, we might not see that. We see the charioteer as somebody who just drives a wagon. Okay, that's cool. But in ancient times, a charioteer was an elite warrior. Pharaohs were charioteers. Okay, people, what is it? Boudica, I hope I'm saying that right. She rode into battle on a chariot. People who rode into battle, who led these battles, rode in on chariots. In the Colosseums, they would have chariot races. Great skill, great power, great honor was come from being a great charioteer. And so when we look at it now, we don't have that same connotation, but they were like the tanks of their day. And they took skill, and they took effort, and they took time, and they took practice. And they took a coming together not only of rider and horses, but of air and earth and being and self and soul, this very big connection. And so what you're seeing here is this powerful connection of where it is that you want to be, of how it is that you want to move forward, of the passion, the purpose, and the power that you have. It's crowning your heart. Your heart is saying, let me guide you. Let me guide you with my conscious self, the white horse, and the subconscious self, the black horse. Let the day and the night come together. Let when the world is loud and noisy, of course loud, and when the world is quiet and at peace and subtle and calm. Let things come together. Let when the world can move you in its thoughts and in its waves of being, and when your subconscious gets to come forward, and when the quiet moments get to be, and you see where your mind truly is. Let your heart be guided. It can guide you to some really dark places. If you've been through a lot of pain, a lot of heartbreak, a lot of disappointment, you can find during this time that people who you've loved, who have passed, or traumatic events that have happened to you that were completely out of your control, they come up during this time. Why? People are tired of the gray. People are tired of the gray, and yet they feel the gray. They feel like it's never going to end, as if the heartbreaks, the disappointments, the upsets, they just keep coming. And what you're going to find here is that as you move forward, as you say, divinity guide me, divinity lead me, let me express myself, let me speak my truth, even if it's just within a journal, even if it's just you kind of talking to your phone, sitting there and expressing, like kind of keeping a vlog of you talking to your spirit guides, you talking to your angels. Name them. Name them the names that come into your head. If it's Jane, if it's as simple as Jane, let your spirit guide be named Jane, and have that conversation, because naming something and also visualizing a human face makes it so much more personable. My spirit guide's name is Imani, And so here, as you move forward, that power, that passion, it comes. And it has a dying away of the old self and a rebirth of the new, which is never really something that we like. We as human beings, we wish things to stay status quo. We love the highs, but we hate the lows, right? But if you have highs, you're always going to have to come down. The death card, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. Here it's death and rebirth. It's always very scary. And that's why we always equate rebirth with it. Because what the death card shows us is that things will never stay the same. And that life, it does have an ending, whether we want to look at it or not. But what we're seeing here is that the person that we were, years ago, 13 years ago, is not the person that we are today. 13 months ago is not the person that we are today. We've all been through so very much, and we've all been changed because of it. This is saying, yes, I mourn the fact that I had to evolve as a human being. I liked where I was. You could sit there and really say, I liked where I was. It was comfortable, it was safe. But for some reason, divinity has shaken the world, has shaken the earth. And it will either make you open your eyes or it will make you retreat. And that, of course, is an individual choice and where each person is on their journey. Here with the death and the rebirth, you're seeing yourself step out of who you once were. You could also be very reflective of the past, even a longing for the way things used to be. You're going to find you're calling yourself forward. You're calling yourself to change. You're calling yourself to power. You're calling yourself to understanding. And it leads you to realizing that the world is open to you in a way that you hadn't expected. And that's when you embrace the love, the sensuality of life and of self. It's also seeing yourself as a sensual being. And if you've ever been through any trauma around sensuality, around the expression of your body, even if it's just within the dogmatic ideologies that you were raised in, this is starting to reclaim your truth, your power. This is starting to fall in love with yourself. Instead of seeing yourself as somebody who can be improved, as somebody who will never grace the covers of a magazine and so has to hide away. Yes, you're most likely not an actress or a model, and you're not going to be airbrushed on the cover of a magazine, and that's okay. That's the way most of the world is, and yet we're given unrealistic expectations for what we should be, and we're shown time and time again. And so here, when you look out at the world, and you hold the world in your hand, it's like, okay, I might not be, the most beautiful person in the world, or the richest person in the world, or the most powerful person in the world, but I am me. And what is so important here is that I am not a mistake. There is a power, there is a brilliance, there is a beauty to me that opens up the doors, that opens up my life, that guides me forward in such an expressive and powerful and brilliant way, that lets me see that the world is not this scary, terrifying place, but this place of unique personal stories, this place of evolution, this place of coming together, this place of deeper insight. And it leads you to the King of Cups. You're very much within your heart here, following the pathway of your heart. And it's the transformation of the heart, and it's the power of the heart that is opening up the world to you. And you're rooted with the King of Cups. And the King of Cups is the person who sits there and says, I can only rule my life. I only have control over me. And so, as a person who can only operate in the realm for which I've crowned myself in, I am looking at that crown. I am looking at that power. I am looking at that coming together. And I am seeing my blessing come forward. Whenever I think of the King of Cups, I think of my nephew. Okay, he's not even 2. And he is such a strong-willed little boy. And I sit there and, you're with them day in, day out. And you're like, okay, you will do this, you will do that. And he doesn't listen. He has his own mind as somebody who is so little. And so if you can't tell the youngest of us how to be and have them listen, what makes us think that by shouting at the world, by giving ultimatums, by scaring, by coercing, there we go, we will get the world to be what we want? And that seems to be the tactic of the world now. If I scream loud enough, and not only now, it has been before. When Constantine took the throne and he said, you will be Christian, to the world, he then killed everybody who wasn't. He said, you have this amount of time, either convert or don't. And then he did it through force. We've done everything through force throughout history. Where has it gotten us? How has it evolved us? And so here, when we're looking at ourselves, it's saying we can try through force, or we can try through kindness and understanding, but also a fierce sense of, these are my limits. Like, this is who I am. This is how I define myself. This is what I tolerate within my life. And this is what I don't. So it's not letting people run amok. It's saying, this is the line. Don't cross it. Kind of like you do with a toddler. And, this is what I expect of myself. And because this is what I expect of myself, it translates to this is what I expect of those around me. And either they rise up, and you will see this. Either people rise up or they walk away. They just don't want to be with you. Because if they can't be those expectations, or if they can't live in the energy that you let out, they're going to see themselves as not being comfortable around you. It's just not nice. So here, you become the king, not of everyone, but of the only person who really matters, and that's you. And I know it sounds so terribly egotistical to say you're the only person that really matters, but you're the main player in your play. You are the main character in your story. So yes, you are the person who matters within you. And you will find that by raising your energy vibration, by opening up your consciousness, people either come into your life who are called into your life, either to raise you higher or to, push your boundaries and things like that. Either they leave or they stay. And that is then up to them. And it's a very open place to be. It's a very freeing place to be, to say, but this is me. And it can feel at times that you're stuck within a world that has you kind of going towards somebody else's tune, has a boss or somebody within your house that has a very strong personality, and you find that life acquiesces to them. Keep on staying in your truth. And you will find that either things change or the relationship starts to change, which is something changing. Things change and power comes. There's a sense of power within yourself. And you will find that. You will find that, and divinity will change it for you. Now, how divinity changes it and the path for which you are on is going to be astoundingly different. But in the public arena, do not let anyone else take credit for your hard work, for your time, your discipline, and your dedication. Now, it doesn't mean starting a fight with somebody, well, I said that, and that was my idea, and, who do you think you are? It's staying in your truth and saying, no, I know I'm right. And I'm not going to be bullied by anybody just because they have a louder voice or because they say things with more authority. I know my truth. And it can be quietly proving it. It's like, oh no, look, I looked it up. I was right. That's where that person was from, or that's who that person is. Type of thing. It's something very small that it's like, oh, just fact checking, and here it is. Or it can be something very big where you're sitting there within your heart and it's like, no, I will not be swayed. This is something that I have built. And this is also something we have built. You and spirit, divinity. There's a coming together of a collective we during this time. And it brings forward power. It brings forward insight. It brings forward purpose. And it leads you to seeing that there are more roads out there than what you had originally imagined. Because you're opening up your life. You're opening up your soul. You're opening up yourself and saying, how is it that I move forward? Where is it that I want to be? What is it that I desire? With the Two of Swords, there's always a sense. And with the Two of Swords, I always see it as, and Spirit shows it to me, as you can go this road or this road. And that's always what you thought. You didn't think the multitude of roads would come your way. And the way I see this card is very much, I see it as my mother. So when my mother was growing up, you could be a nurse or you could be a teacher. She always tells the story. And she says that she couldn't be a nurse because she didn't have the stomach for it. My grandma was a nurse and she desperately wanted my mom to be one. So my mom studied to be a teacher, and then she did not like it. She didn't like it because where she taught, they said, if the child has been left back once, they can only be left back once. You just pass them on, even if they don't know what's going on. And she found the people she was working with to be very petty, and it just broke her heart. And she's like, I'm not going to work someplace every day. That just simply breaks my heart. And so she wound up leaving, and she got a job working in the cafeteria that she worked in when she was at school. And then that got her promoted and promoted until she got to a point where the boss said to her, a new boss came in and he said, listen, you have a choice. Either you sleep with me or you're fired. And she looked at him and she was like, you're joking, right? And she left. And she was like, no, I'm not sleeping with you. And no, I'm not fired. And so he said, yes, you are. And then she went to Human Resources and she said to him, he can't fire me just because I wouldn't sleep with him. And Human Resources said to her, do you have any proof? Or is it just your word against his because you're fired and now you're disgruntled? So that put her on a whole new course within her life. She went to graduate school. She got a master's in business. She was already the first person in her family to graduate from college. Now she was the first person in her family to go on to get her master's. And it opened up a whole new world to her that wouldn't have happened if she had stayed on the course that she was on. But divinity took her on a different course. It took her to places that she hadn't expected. And it took her through falling down and reaching low moments in her life where she was scared and overwhelmed and didn't know what to do, to places where she was elevated and empowered and emboldened. And that's the story. That's how I see the Two of Swords. It's like you thought these roads, and then all of a sudden you're taken on this journey where you feel like a ping pong ball. You feel like all of a sudden life was just taken out of your control. And it's because you're going down roads you never knew existed. And as you go down them, you start to find you. You start to find where you stand. Because if you don't know what you don't want, you never know what you do. And I really feel as if, and Spirit shows the world to me as it's a multitude of failures, of heartbreaks, of pains, and of disappointments. We learn who we're not so we can learn who we are. And that's what the Two of Swords brings. It brings a path moved forward by forging, by pain, by fighting, by fear, and by dedication. Because that's what the sword brings. The sword is simply a weapon. It is not one of the elements within the tarot that can be something else. A wand can be a torch. It can be a walking stick. It can be a weapon, yes, but it has other purposes. A sword does not. It can be decorative, but usually but that's only if in times of quote unquote peace, but to still show military might. So here you have this fire, you have this fight leading you forward, and it has you looking at, because of that ping pong effect that Spirit was talking about, it has you looking at the pains, the disappointments, the hardships, the falling that you have been through. And the falling that you have been through, the fear that you have been through, the anger that you have been through, it can be affecting your gut. It can be affecting yourself, the way you digest your food, the way you see your life. And so here, that's why you need to step back and start being kind to yourself, where you need to start kind of taking care of yourself in a way that you hadn't before. And so here, as you look at things and as you look at the power of yourself, you look at the stress. And people sit there and say, why is the world so obese? Or why is America obese and, other nations? I firmly believe it is the stress that we have been under. It is the abstract stress that is happening every single day. And so then to combat that, we need to take control of our lives and not just fall into the stress bubble. And so here with the Four of Swords, if you look at it in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is the person in the coffin, with the Four Swords above. And in medieval times, you went into your coffin, if you were a lord or a knight, and you thought about all the ways when you came back from battle. You sat in your coffin and thought about all the ways you shouldn't have come back. And here, it's thinking about all the ways in life that you should have fallen, that everything just should have fallen apart, and that you still stand. That is a powerful place to be. And it shows you all those people that you trusted that you shouldn't have. All those people that broke your heart, that laughed at you behind your back, that you sat there and you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why did this happen? And with the Three of Cups, it is, first of all, knowing that you are more resilient than you had ever thought you were. But it's also taking away their power, taking away their truth within your life. Sitting there and saying, you don't get to dictate me anymore. You've done enough. And now I get to claim where I stand. And it brings you to going deeper. Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Ooh. Angels and spirit guides. And one bonus card. And let's look at the energy of people that you need to be mindful of. What is the energy of people that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? What is the energy of people that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. Okay. So these aren't necessarily saying that it's one group of people. Like if the card for Leo comes up, you don't have to be mindful of Leos, though that could be an interpretation if that rings true for you. What it means is that you have to be mindful of people who exude my way or the highway type of attitude towards things. It's just the example that's coming up in my head. So here we start off with the Princess of Pentacles. Now this is Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is going to be someone. Now it doesn't have to be an Earth sign. This is an energy, okay, that is very concerned about money. Now because you are an Earth sign energy, you're going to be very drawn to this person because there's going to be a like-mindedness. Even if this person is speaking from a place of fear and of doubt, it is a fear that you can easily understand. It is a doubt that makes sense to you. So here, there is a person who's kind of counting every penny, who's very worried about money, who comes from a place of lack, who comes from a place of inexperience, who comes from a place of doubt and of fear. So be very, very mindful of that fear being placed onto you. You know, that sense of lack, there will never be enough, I don't know what I'm doing, I can't move forward, because that can start a chaos that keeps things tumbling. Then we have here the Chariot. Now you have a very beautiful Chariot within your heart. Here, this is somebody who lets their emotions get the better of them and lets themselves just be drama queens, just absolutely pulled away by their emotions, and it's like a runaway train. So be very, very mindful of this. You can easily get pulled in because your heart is so emotionally attached to things. You are leading with your heart, your emotions, kind of this emotional connection to the world. So you're going to see this person and think, oh, I can help, or oh, you know, there's a beautiful way forward here, let me show you. But this person doesn't want to heal, they want to complain. And that's really where they want to be. So be very mindful of that, because you'll come in as the person who wants to aid, but there's nothing that you can aid. This is a trauma that they need to go through. And then we have the Lover. So you have a very beautiful card of sexual energy, of sexual expression, of sensuality, of self, and of spirit. And then you have a very negative card where it comes all to me, what I want, what I need, what brings me pleasure in the moment, not thinking long term. And this can be very detrimental. Most definitely. This can also be somebody being very kind of two-faced about things, only thinking of the pleasure, only thinking of the moment, and not looking at the bigger picture. So do be mindful of that. But you are going to find that in some way to be very alluring, because there's a sense of that hedonistic expression of just kind of do what you want. And that's going to feel very appealing to you, because it's going to be like, just go for it. Just go for what makes you feel good at the time, and kind of damn the consequences. And that's all well and good. You know, sure, that can be fun, but the aftermath of that I always find to be much more work than it was pleasurable. You know, people who go down that path, the aftermath is so much more intense than it would have been if they would have thought of the consequences, or gotten out of just the eruption of emotion or feeling within that moment. So let's see here. We have the Page of Wands, the Seven of Cups, the Knight of Pentacles, the Magician, beautiful, the Four of Pentacles, okay, warning, the Knight of Wands, the Fool was rooting you in the public arena, in your inner self. Now it's crowning you in the public arena, the Two of Wands, and then the Five of Pentacles. And your bonus card is the Page of Wands. So which one is this? This is the Page of... This is the Page of Cups. Okay, fantastic. Yeah, the Page of Cups. Okay, brilliant. So we have here being a student of your heart. And your heart can be misleading at times. It absolutely can be. And so here, as you're working hard and as you're trying to balance everything, it can feel like you're not doing enough. And it can feel like trickery is just so powerful around you. And there's a sense here with the Seven of Cups of with dreams needing to be balanced with your love needing to come forward. And it's almost going to feel as if it can be too good to believe, to kind of walk down this path, to let your dreams become part of your waking world, part of your day-to-day existence. But it's going to be so important. We tend to keep our dreams, especially if there's something that has become very sacred to us, something that we have had since we were little. Like, this is what I've always dreamt of being. And you might have talked about your dreams very openly when you were younger. And then as you got older, you kind of learned to keep your dreams to yourself because you didn't live them the way that you thought you were going to do when you were younger. And so here, you've learned to kind of keep them in the back of your mind, in this like dark little space of your subconscious, taking them out every time you kind of need a little bit of a pep talk, but still keeping them away from the waking world. Now it's falling in love with them again. It's moving forward in that passion, in that power, in that brilliance. And it brings you to the Knight of Pentacles. It brings you to being a warrior of your prosperity as you move forward, as you take that leap of faith, as you set yourself free. And it brings you to the Magician. It brings you to calling forward the magic within your life. It brings you to really looking at that God's head within you as you move forward, as you are reborn, as you look at the bigger picture of who you are and where it is that you want to be. You stand before the altar of your existence and you claim your fate. You claim your truth. You claim your power. You're not living in the future because that is a place of delusion. We don't know what the future will hold. You're not living in the past because that is a place of stagnation. You can't build off of the past. You just can't. You know, the past gives us a guideline. It's like, oh, I won't trust that person again, or I won't do that again. But we can't build off of the past because it is done. And so here in the present, that's where you stay. And that's where you're going to get your greatest power from. This is my truth. This is my power. This is who I am. This is who I need to be. And it brings you to the Four of Pentacles. It brings you to that draining energy that made it seem like the world couldn't be yours. It made it seem like everything was so overwhelming. Everything was so overpowering that you couldn't walk forward the way that you wanted to. It brings you, then you're rooted now in two knights because you're fighting for prosperity and passion, because part of your grounding is also the grounding of poverty, the grounding of I can't. Now, it could be that you grew up with not a lot of money, you know, not seeing people have those really great, you know, kind of futures before them. And it was just kind of like, this is your lot in life. This is all that there is. And you can't expect anything more. So it could have been that type of poverty. It could have been that you grew up in wealth, but you had a parent that was always yelling about money. So you saw everybody else getting to have everything, but you didn't. And then there's also the simple fact that you could have tried and failed at things, and then have this mindset of, I'm not worthy to have the prosperity, to have the bounty, to have the abundance of others. This is what you're fighting against here with the Knight of Pentacles, slowly and steadily building that prosperity that lasts throughout your life and embracing the passion that you have as you are a king of simply yourself. What is it that you are passionate about? What is it that lights your fire? What is it that calls to your soul? It doesn't matter if you can't make money off of it. It can start to enlighten, embolden your truth, your world, and really move you forward in a powerful and brilliant way. So let that fire start to come in as you really connect and meditate on your inner self. You become a fool. Now, people might see you, quite literally, as a fool in the public arena. What do you mean you're trying this? What do you mean you're studying this? What do you mean, you're making time for something so foolish? Let them think what they want to think. This is a time where you take that leap of faith. You jump for you. You go after what you need, what you want, what you desire, what is so powerfully connective to you. And you take that leap of faith and you see where it leads you. You let yourself embrace that expression of self. It brings you to being freed, because you don't know, here, with all the birds around her, she's in a cage. And that's how life can be sometimes. We look outside our window, we see the birds flying free, we see, the clouds moving across the sky, and we don't know that we've caged ourselves by the poverty of our minds, the heartbreaks that we have been through, the angers of our past. And so here, you are breaking free of that cage, because you have the Two of Wands right here within your heart. You're seeing that you can move forward, but it is, again, that caging, the Four of Wands that is holding you back, that sense of, this is meant for everybody else but you. I'm draining your energy. I'm taking away your power because I want it for me. That's what the world does. We come from a world that thinks in terms of lack, not in terms of there's enough for everyone, but in terms of there gets to be a super bunch for one person and not enough for everybody else. And you will find that as the collective consciousness changes, that starts to change. And it doesn't mean political systems start to change. It means that people themselves start to change. And the power they call forward starts to change. Because either you walk towards enlightenment or you walk still within the shadows. You just get angrier. Things get more base, more angry. But you're going to find here, Capricorn, that you're setting yourself free. The roots of poverty come forward. Now, whether that be around money, whether that be around, abilities, it really doesn't matter, because it's bringing you to a place of lack. It's bringing you to a place of fear, to a place of being overwhelmed. And now you're going to see yourself being set free from it, being empowered by where you need to be, not by the negativity that was thrust upon you by another. It brings you then to the Page of Wands, to being a student of your passion, your fire, your brilliance, and your truth. It brings you to opening up your world. All right? And as you do so, you open up your mind. Now let's see what your spirit animals have to say. Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. February 1st to the 15th, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. And we have here the chameleon spirit, act as if. Act as if you are the person that you want to be. Act as if you're living that life that you want. It's kind of like fake it till you make it. Let yourself become it, because then it leads you to the turkey spirit. Give with gratitude and grace, not to everybody else. Though, yes, give to the world with gratitude and grace, but give to yourself with gratitude and grace as you move forward. Start loving you. It brings you then to the white raven spirit. It says, trust in the magic. Trust in the magic that lives within you. Trust in that power, as above, so below. As you think it, so it becomes. It's the I am presence coming forward. How are you crowning yourself? How are you moving forward in that crown, in that blessing? Trust in the magic within you. Trust in the God's head within you. You will be surprised how the world evolves around you, how you evolve within your world. And then it brings you finally to the lizard spirit. It says, dream the world into being. That is why you're calling forward your dreams, to live your goals, to move forward in your life. Call your dreams into being. Let them become a part of your day-to-day existence. Let it become a part of your power. Your subconscious spirit animal message is the fox spirit. Think on your feet. Life comes at you fast. Think on your feet. Don't sit there and overthink also. That's also very much what your subconscious is saying during this time. Capricorn, don't overthink. Kind of let things come, let things become, let things move you forward. Your subconscious person message is you. You can be your greatest ally, but you could also be your greatest hindrance. Sit there and let the passion in, let the power in, because you very much look at, I would think of the Sensuality card as kind of like the afterglow of the lovers. And this is being, okay? This is nature taking its course afterwards. What happens after? Here, it can lead to chaos in a very good way. It can lead to chaos in a bad way. Nature doesn't care. So Cernunnos is the nature god. And Cernunnos and other nature gods were made to be the template for the devil. And so they're the nature gods. They're the gods of nature. Nature doesn't care. It doesn't care if your flower beds get weeds to grow in them or if they don't. It doesn't look at things the same way we look at things. So here, this is sitting there, and it's looking at the chaos. It's looking at the way forward and say, how? How do I want to be? Where do I want to be? What is it that I desire? Who am I? And how am I being led forward? What do I care for and what do I not? It leads you then to your chakra message, your subconscious chakra message of rebirth, which is at the root of your heart. The death card, the dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. You are being reborn. Is it always going to be pretty? No. Is it going to be important? Absolutely. Is it going to be, this is the Earth Star Chakra? Is it going to be at the root of you in how you plant yourself in the world? Yes. You are being born in how you define yourself. It leads you then to your subconscious tarot message, which is the wheel. You are seeing your world change. You are entering into a new season. The wheel of fortune is the wheel of fate, the way the world changes, the way you change, the way you move forward. You can feel like you're on a roller coaster ride, but you're ending a cycle, and you're seeing where the world will take you. And you're going to want to fight this because you're going to want to know. But again, just remember, Capricorn, the world cannot be black or white. It cannot be a white page, black print, everything kind of listed out. There's going to be a level of having to let go and having to discover. It's like trusting the ride that divinity is going to put you on during this time. And then finally, to go deeper into that subconscious message, we have the Three of Pentacles. Know that you've worked hard and let that light of that work, that prosperity, that brilliance shine upon you. All right, Capricorn, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of your positive energy as you free yourself from poverty, lack, and fear, and release yourself from the cage you didn't even know you were in. It is time to be free, and it is time for an adventure. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn.